Hi everyone, Brian from Bearable Traders here. It is August 27th. It's the weekend. This is the weekend video, of course, and we'll take a look at what happened last week. Crazy week. And then we'll take a look ahead at what we got coming up this week. So try to figure out where things could be going from here. So let's get down to it. Okay, so we'll start with looking at what happened last week. Friday, I think, was the big day when Powell came out at Jackson Hole. We had his speech. And he made it pretty clear that there was no pivot. So unlike the August, or I guess it was the July meeting, Fed meeting, where people came away thinking maybe the pivot was close at hand, he made it clear that no, that wasn't the case, and basically expect more economic pain as they fight inflation. So message was pretty clear, and the pain followed very quickly for the bulls. So you can see here all the indexes really took a big hit on Friday. Three-quarters of these losses, just roughly three-quarters of these losses that you see here were accounted for just on Friday alone. So Dow down, the Qs obviously down the most, and the IWM small caps down the least, which is kind of interesting. Energy, basic materials, they managed to be gainers on the week. Energy, of course, big focus, especially in Europe. Communication services, technology, biggest losers on the week. And of course, those are the high growth stocks that don't do well in a higher interest environment. The Treasury ended yield or edged up a little bit here, over 3%. And the 2-year was also up 3.38. We still have the inverted curve, which is still the market telling you maybe we've got a recession coming. US dollar, of course, made a huge move on Friday in anticipation of higher rates. The dollar was actually down on the week, but again made a monster move on Friday. But on the week overall, it was only up 0.4%. Bitcoin basically just trading with the market up and down. You can pretty much track it with the indexes, so not really a store of value at all here, just trading as a risk asset with the market. And before we get starting to look at some individual charts, let's take a quick break for ad for my book on Amazon, Profiting as an Active Trader. This is my most recent book. A guide to trading tools, money management rules, strategies, and routines of an active stock, and a bit of options in there as well. So on Amazon. Now let's get down to taking a look at some specific charts here. Start out with the 2-year. As I mentioned, it was up a little bit here. It looks like it's on the verge of moving higher, and but again, sort of still stuck in under this 3.4 number. Again, we had a real bounce back here on the 10-year this week. Again, Fed saying they're going to be aggressive with fighting inflation, which means higher interest rates until inflation is tamped down. And you can see here on the transports, pretty rough week here. Actually, we were fighting to get ourselves back above. Back in the green, but Friday really put a nail in that coffin. And you can see here we're rolling over on all the momentum indicators as well. So maybe this area, if we do start to sell off more, we could be pretty close to this one area of support, and then further down here, this 13,950 as an area of possible support. Again, transport's rolling over on the week. And again, the Dow, we had a bit of a sell-off there Monday, Tuesday. We tried to recapture some stuff there Wednesday, Thursday, but again, same story on volume, as you can see there, and RSI over 50, which means we could be heading back lower, which is what everyone's been sort of saying here, that we have to retest these lows after this bounce. Again, same with the Qs. We really lost a significant level of support here at this around 313, 312 area, and maybe heading back down to this moving average on the daily. On a weekly, we're right back at this trend line where we broke out from. So again, we'd be watching for a little bit of maybe volatility next week, bit of up and down as we maybe try to retest this level and see if it'll hold. Again, not a huge volume on the selling side of things. So not a lot of maybe institutional selling. And again, the SPY lost a level of support there. And certainly there's a level right here around 400 where there could be some support on the daily if we continue to sell off. So that's in the weekly. Again, we're sort of losing momentum on volume that's been a little bit higher, but not big volume like we saw back here. So again, we are at the end of the summer. Volume does tend to be a little bit lighter. And the IWM, again, not really that big a loss compared to the other indexes. And you can see there bigger than normal volume on Friday, what we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. Or actually over the last couple of weeks, really, even this was a lower volume week. This sort of more volume on that Friday. On that selling. But again, we're kind of into an area where this was support back here. This became resistance here, and now we're right sitting at this area of support, which I'll talk about in my final slide there. We do seem to be sitting in at some areas of prior support here. So it'll be interesting to see if we actually hold these levels next week. VIX, obviously big spike up on Friday, just because of the amount of selling that we saw. And the dollar. Again, the dollar, as I said, was kind of selling off on the week, and then of course we had this monster move Friday on the anticipation of higher rates, which is what the Fed is telling us we are in for as they fight inflation. And you can see here, I mentioned Bitcoin again down with the rest of the market, and it continues to sell off over the weekend here. We're now down. When I did my slide, I think it was 20,700. Now we're down almost testing 20,000. So you can see here the selling continues into the weekend because the Bitcoin, the crypto markets don't ever close. So let's take a quick look at stuff that I have on watch quickly. Apple, again, I'm looking at that 200-day moving average around 160. If it gets down there, it might be an interesting buy. We did have a fair amount of selling on volume on Friday. So 160 could be an area of support. BABA, as I don't think I've mentioned yet, but obviously some news came out about the SEC, I believe, coming up with some resolution on some of the accounting concerns they have with some of these Chinese stocks. So maybe it's taking delisting off the table. So BABA gapped up, but after this nice move up, but then really pulled back on Friday. But there's definitely some support here at 90 on BABA. We'll see if it comes back to fill this gap, and again could be a buy in that gap fill area. Capri, I think, again coming back down to this area, sort of 48. If it tests it, could be a good entry. CrowdStrike reporting next week. Again, these security firms have been pretty strong. Did have a big sell-off on Friday, but again, might be something worth watching for an options play later in the week. Disney, again, looking at this gap fill here, 110, possible entry. Ford, I'm still long a few calls. I did sell some more, but I'm still long some long-dated calls on Ford. UNG, I've caught this run. I caught this run on this pullback. I did sell it again when it was back up here, and now I re-entered on Friday. So again, sort of tight stop here. This is sort of around 31, which is an area we may get a gap fill, but I'm anticipating that natural gas is going to continue to move higher as we get closer to the winter season and the challenges that they're having in Europe. Uranium, I'm looking at this little pullback here. I think the uranium facilities, the electricity facilities, are going to be in use for some time to come because there's no short-term solution for the energy challenges that are facing Europe unless something drastic happens in Russia, and but I don't anticipate that happening. So I think uranium actually could still be a decent play here. So that's it. So let's wrap things up here. August 29th, see what we got the last week in August. what we're looking at here. So we found, like I said in the previous session or previous section, the Q. A lot of these are sitting right near support levels on the Dow and the Qs. Resistance well above. So you can just take a look at those numbers. We do have some stuff coming up this week, economic event wise. We've got the Case Shiller Home Prices Index on Tuesday. That'll kind of tell you where home prices are going. PPI on Tuesday in the afternoon. We've got some European data out of France and Germany coming up on Thursday, kind of give a read on how the economies are looking in Europe, which is, of course, I think struggling a lot more than maybe in the US with all the war going on and energy concerns. And as far as earnings go, we don't have a lot going on. We're at the end of, obviously, at the end of earnings season. We do have some Chinese stocks reporting. PDD, JD reported last week, actually had some pretty good numbers. So more Chinese stocks coming up this week, and maybe some risk off now that they've come up with some resolution maybe on the accounting side of things, accounting concerns taking delisting off maybe off the table here. So PDD obviously, and then we've got not Bed Bath and Beyond, but Best Buy. So read on the consumer electronics, CrowdStrike, HPQ. We do have some travel stock, TCOM Wednesday. We've got Lulu on Thursday. Lulu always interesting. Apparel, high-end apparel, Broadcom, and Potstock. So not a lot of earnings, but just a few there to watch. So we'll see you tomorrow, or not tomorrow, I guess it is Monday morning, 8 a.m. We kick things off for the pre-market show live on YouTube, and then followed up by Trading the Market Open with our team at 9:30. So hopefully we'll see you at one or all of those events, and have a great rest of the week, and everybody, bye for now.